need to stop trying to get to 10K followers to pay off your debt. I know I'm going to get some.
All right, go watch her video. She's got a little bit of attention for it. A lot of people aren't liking what she's saying, and they're not going to because it's kind of smashing this dream that everybody has of paying off their bills with TikTok. And look, it was a good intention. It really was. And somebody else posted a video saying that too. It's good intention. But here are some things that you need to know and understand about this trend as it's taking place, okay? One, you need 10,000 followers. If you don't have that, it's not going to help you. And a lot of people are talking about this. These are more the common things you should be hearing as content creators have made content talking about this. But you need 10,000 followers. In addition to that, none of the videos you made prior to having 10K are going to help. They won't count. It doesn't work. There's a lot more into qualified views and stuff, because even if you got 1,000 views, you're not necessarily going to get paid for 1,000 views. You're going to get paid for qualified views, which some others have said maybe 500, maybe 800, could be less than all of that. But as she talks about in that video, which you really need to watch and swallow the hard truth. It needs to happen. But I'm not saying nobody should be trying. If you really want to make content, make content. I'm still trying to make content. Did I jump in on the trend? Absolutely. But I'm trying to make content, and I have an agenda for the content I'm making, and I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, basically, it's an expanded follower train. Those never work. Every platform has had some version of that. Twitter was follow for follow. With Twitch, people were doing that, the follow for follow. I don't do follow for follow. It doesn't work. It doesn't help your numbers. It doesn't help your engagement. When I was on Twitch, I was able to scoop up a few hundred users doing follow for follow, and then the numbers dropped off and the engagement was horrible. People weren't coming into chat and anything. You need the engagement. At the end of the day, you're going to need the engagement. So even if you were able to recruit 1 million users, if only 10 of those people are actually going to interact with your videos, it's not helping you. You're only going to get engagement for 10 viewers. And there are plenty of people on this platform who have bought views, who have, artificially inflated numbers by different means, and they get all these followers, but they don't have any actual engagement, so they're not really getting paid. So for those of you that are saying, hey, I've got 1 million followers, I made 42 cents, that's because the followers you've got aren't good followers. They're not participating in a way that's going to help you. Also, somebody was mentioning that putting a heart on something before 5 seconds may not help, because the algorithm's going to see it as a throwaway. That may be true. I don't know, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and say that's probably accurate. So you can see that in your stats when people don't watch the whole video, but they heart, and you can see the average view time. And that's important too. If you're really trying to do this, you're going to have to look at the analytics. As she states, and I'm going to tell you this right now because I did Twitch streaming for a while and went nowhere with it, and I know exactly why that is now. And I haven't jumped back in because Twitch streaming takes a lot more time than TikTok. It takes a lot more time. But you have to pick what you're going to do. What do I do on this channel? If you don't know me and this is your first time seeing my content and you don't want to view my videos because you're not sure what I do, I'll tell you what it is. I do political commentary. I make comments on political things. That's what I do. Sometimes you agree with them, sometimes you won't. I also make comments on social issues that I think are important. And then sometimes I just goof around and do the filters because I think it's a good mix. For me, that's my 3-item mix is what it is. Political, social, hence the name I use. Political, social, and then I do some fun stuff. I like talking about things. I would hope that I'm talking about in a way that if you and I were in the same room, we'd be having a conversation about why we do or do not support this thing, or why I think this thing is horrible, or that's what I do. Other creators like Tizzy, if you watch Tizzy, he does more of like social activism is kind of what he's doing. That's part of it. And that's his niche. But you don't have to be in a specialized niche necessarily. You can just make content and eventually the audience will follow. One of the most important things I learned on Twitch, and this was true because I actually had a game developer come into my channel on a live stream because I'd done content long enough that they were able to jump in there. But you do consistently what you're going to enjoy. Don't make videos you don't want to make. I don't care if it's a hot button topic. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. There are a few topics I've decided I just don't want to talk about because I don't think they're that interesting and I think it's just dumb they're floating around. That's my choice. It's your channel. Make the content you want to make. I don't care if you want to make the same video 15 different times. Just make the content you want to make. Make sure it's interesting, refine your craft. But this is why there's usually a run-up to getting you monetized. They want to make sure you know what you're doing. This is going to be a bit of a longer video too, so I apologize. But make sure the content you're making is interesting to at least you. And I say that instead of the other words, make sure it's interesting to so many people. It's like, I don't know what other people are going to be interested. I have no idea. Even using the creator tools that tell me what they should be interested in, I've tried those. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for me anyway. So do what you find interesting, put the information out there and somebody will take it. As far as paying off your debts with TikTok, can it work? I think it can, but it's going to be a long, hard road and a grind. You're going to have to treat this as a secondary job is what you're going to have to do. or as a hobby that you just have a passion for. Right now, I treat mine as a hobby. If it starts making money, it'll become more of a job. Resell is my primary job at this point. That's what I put my energy into, and I don't film any of that because it's too much to add on top of what I already do in resell. I know there's resellers out there that make videos, but that's another topic for another time, and I'd be glad to discuss that. Again, you just have to let me know. But you have to make content you're going to want to enjoy making, and then you've got to focus yourself on what you're doing. Don't try to do everything. If your thing is dances on TikTok, then do dances. If it's just talking about random things, then do that and just keep at it. It's going to be exhausting. You're going to have those times where like, I don't want to do this anymore. Then take a break. Plenty of people do that. But there is enough to go around for everybody. And generally the reason stuff doesn't go anywhere is because you don't have enough time into it, or you are, not doing content in a way that's going to matter, right? It's if I just stitched everybody's videos and just said one word at the end, I'm not providing any value, as they say, to anything. So there is a lot to it. If you have specific questions, let me know. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've done things. I have a YouTube channel that I've ran that has me nowhere in it. It's just clips from gaming, and it's doing all right. Not perfect, but it's doing all right. It's still fairly young. And then I've done Twitch before, so I'm familiar with that market. But keep in mind, follow doesn't work, you guys, and it's going to hurt you. And they know. The algorithm knows. In addition to that, when they see you're doing that, it can potentially get your content demonetized. If you are monetized, also it can get you dropped in the rankings. So if you guys have any more questions about this trend or how to make your stuff work better, let me know. I'll be glad to provide you what I know. And there's plenty of videos from people that do this actually for a living that know. Sift through though, because some are going to feed you crap that isn't true. Anyway, what are your thoughts, guys?